What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming by to see it my way. Today we are getting into episode 4 of Bite Me the series. What happened in the last episode? Basically, Miss Thang came around. They asked Ek to help him with the competition. After Miss Thang showed up, Miss Eve showed up and basically wrecked his whole life. So now we're gonna see what that looks like. They asked him to be a part of the competition. And Ek's response was not, I don't think he liked it. So, yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. If you are new, hello. If you're returning, hello again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that bell notification so you know each and every time I upload. Let's get into it, guys. Lego. It's like, it's so funny, like, to me, how much like flirts with Ek. And Ek, it's like, flirting is here, and this is Ek, and he's like, it's like he knows it's there, but he's not picking it up. He's just like, it's kind of like the vending machines, like the slot machines, where you try to like win prizes, and then you like try to pick up the prize, and it just goes shoop. That's what Ek is doing to flirt. Anytime he like does this or has this like weird like situation where he says something kind of to the left of what your boss would say to you, and it's more to like what someone who's trying to pursue you would say to you, it gets this face that's just like, he's like, So I feel like he knows it's there, he's just not picking it up yet. He's not picking it up, but hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I also think it's cute that it's almost like he knows how to flirt, obviously. But I can tell that he really likes Ek just by the way he flirts. He flirts in a way that's very like novice. Is that the right word? He flirts like in a novice manner. So, and what I mean by that is he will say things that are very bold, like when he said, "Just you being here puts me at ease." And the way he said it was very much like, you know how to flirt, like intermediate, like pro level know how to flirt. But then he does things like, so like him asking Ek questions about like what is he doing like later, or what does he do in his free time, and him just kind of like swirling his finger on the table, pretty much acting like he's slightly uncomfortable asking, but he doesn't want to be thought of as like weird asking those questions. It's cute how he plays with those two dynamics when it comes to Ek. And that's how I can tell that he really likes this guy, because he's just like, there are certain things that slip and it's just like, damn, like you really were direct with that. And then there's some times where he's just like very cautious of how he says things and what he says. I fucking love it. I love it. So I know these two right here, does anybody else get like the feeling that there's more than what they're showing us on the surface between these two? Or is it just me? Let me know in the comment section. Because, it's just something about them. I don't know. Maybe I'm making this assumption too early, but there's just something about them. I said it in like I think it was the first or second episode, that I don't think that Ek's mom would hate if he worked as a chef, because I feel like she would support him in anything he does. I think she just wants to make sure that he's happy and that he's not struggling, because she emphasized a lot when she was talking to him. She emphasized that she just wants him to be well off financially. So him working at this job, I'm pretty sure pays really well, because it's a more high scale restaurant. But I do think in Ek's head, he's kind of between a rock and a hard place, because yes, his mom talked about like, you know, her friends and stuff like that and their kids. She doesn't care to show him off because that's not her. But I think in Ek's head, he's like, okay, I don't want to leave my mom. If I were to work in a restaurant, I want to work with her, because I don't want to leave her. Which is understandable, because that's your mom. But she wants me to have a good paying job. That's why I'm studying accounting, so that I'm financially well off, or I can be financially well off. But there's also my passion for cooking, and I've been offered this opportunity to cook at this restaurant. But the thing is, I want that passion for cooking, but I want to work with my mom. Are you guys following me? Like, it's kind of confused. Are you following me? because sometimes I'm not following myself, because it's a very confusing kind of mix of emotions that Ek is going through. It's kind of stuck between his passion and his obligation to his, or he feels his obligation to his mom. So he's like in between those two. So I wonder how this is going to play out. Like, I really am interested to see what he chooses in the end, and how it's going to affect him going forward, and how the people around him reacts, how their reactions differ from what he thinks their reactions are going to be. There are a lot of movies, if you are a big movie watcher, or even just watching like TV, like consuming that type of media, there is a signifier when two people are first showcasing that they have built a bond, and that is this scene, like taking that person to a like place to get fitted for things, or like just taking them out shopping or going shopping together, and then you'll always see one of them sitting in a chair or one of them sitting on a booth and judging their outfits and stuff like that. That's such a cliche scene, and you see it everywhere. And it doesn't necessarily have to signify like love between two people. It generally just signifies a bond that is being built, that is starting, like blossoming, if you get what I'm saying. And I love that they use this. I love how they show the age gap between the two as well, because we all know, like, I mean, of course, X in like college and is like full grown man, like. But I think someone told me their age difference is like 5 or 6 years, maybe, give or take. But I like how they show the way that they dress, and also like even down to the drinks that they choose to drink. So of course we see Ek has like, you know, like an iced coffee, which is usually associated with like a younger audience, and then you have that has like a cup of coffee, like a probably black coffee, which is generally attached to an older group of, you know, like a different generation. So I love how they like show those dynamics and like physically show those dynamics. Okay, I'm glad we're getting to see a little bit more of Pim's personality, because the way he was acting in the restaurant, it wasn't off-putting. It was just kind of like I was just trying to figure him out, and he didn't give me enough to pin him. So I just automatically put him in this category as like, okay, he's just gonna be like the awkward one, which he's still kind of awkward, but we're getting to see more of his personality because of him, we're getting to see more of his personality. Like, you know. And I like that. I think something clicked. Okay, hear me out. So, now that I know that his dad passed away, I think his dad passed away. I don't know if they're talking about like he's just gone, like as in like they're not together anymore, or I'm assuming he passed away because of the way they're speaking about it. But now I feel like I kind of understand Ek a little bit more when it comes to him wanting to cook for his mom rather than cook for someone else first, and him wanting to come back and be with his mom instead, like over everything. That's like the top thing. He wants to be with his mom and help her run the restaurant, because I feel like him losing his dad maybe put things into perspective for him, and he does not want that to happen the same way with his mom. I feel like that's why he's so attached to his mom. Maybe he realizes that like his family is the most important, so he wants to spend as much time with her and be as close to her as possible, and just, I guess, let her know that how much she's loved before like the inevitable, because it happens to all of us. But yeah, I feel like I kind of understand him a little bit more in that aspect. I don't know if that's necessarily true, like why, maybe he might have always been close to his mom. Yeah, I think I might understand him a little bit more of why he's so adamant about working with his mom at the restaurant, and he's so attached and he shows so much love to her. And it might be because of his dad's passing. I don't know if we're gonna get a flashback or like get any kind of, if they're gonna extrapolate on like that situation, but I hope they do, because I feel like that'll give like another layer of X character. So yeah, he's right. So okay, I believe that yes, they should have asked Ek before just outright saying it. I mean, the way he moved into it was smooth as hell. Close your eyes, picture this, picture that, picture this, picture that. Now, it's real. I intend on entering you in an actual competition. But I think the way that Ek operates, like, that's unneeded stress for him. And so he likes to know what's happening. He doesn't like things that are out of place. I don't think he likes things that are kind of spontaneous, but not spontaneous in the fact that, you know, like surprise birthdays, or like somebody gives you a gift, or like, you know, oh, let's go out tonight, that type of spontaneity. But something big like this, like a competition, and saying that you are going to enter him into something where he has to compete, that's kind of something that he has to kind of get in his mind mentally. Like, he has to mentally be in that mindset. And so the fact that they just kind of sprung this on him and didn't ask him first, like, hey, do you want to compete in this competition? The fact that he didn't ask him that, he's just like, okay, that's what? Like, it kind of like puts unnecessary stress. So I understand where Ek is coming from, and I understand why he's reacting the way he reacted. So I feel like now Ek was under the assumption also that I was going to be the one competing in the competition. And so he was like, I'll help you curate your dishes, be better, make them more flavorful, make them, you know, better overall for your sake, because you're the one that's going to be in the competition. So I want to help you. But now I feel like some of the feelings are going to be misunderstood, and some of things are going to be misconstrued, because like in the preview, of course we saw Ek, I mean, it's coming, of course we saw Ek say, I think what you did was all for yourself, or yeah, that's what he said. And I feel like now all of those feelings, all of those little sweet nothings, like his longing stares, and him saying he's at ease whenever you're here, and just the little things that he does for you are probably now going to be lumped into this one category of, were you doing this just so you could get me to do the competition in place of you? And while I don't believe that Ek in the beginning intended to enter him in the competition, and he genuinely likes him, I do believe that once Eve came around, it kind of made him feel like he had to do something to either get back at her or to prove himself. But now that he's entering Ek into that competition, it looks like he's using him in order to satisfy his own selfish pride. So while I feel like they had good intent, it was bad execution, and the way that it's presented makes it look like you are trying to use him in order to achieve something, you know. So okay, so let's kind of go back and have a little retrospective on this episode. So of course, we start off with Ek and in the kitchen cooking up some delicious green curry, and Ek is like, you know, helping try to perfect his craft as far as like flavors and aromas and things like that. I'm glad that we get to see, I'm glad that they have the dynamic that they have. Ek is very much a very mature person, and he prioritizes his time well. He is very mentally sound, while is pretty much the same way. He's very much a person that conserves their energy. He doesn't exert too much to situations that don't really need it. I've noticed that about 3 of the characters in it. Ek, and Pim are very much the very kind of mellow type. Like, they are not too energetic, they're not too boring. I don't think boring is the right word. They're not too lifeless, they are just kind of like the right mixture of both of those dynamics, and I really enjoy that about their characters, because we do have characters that are very in your face and very upfront and direct, like Nuna and Shampoo and Wit and B. They're very much the characters that are like in your face. This is where you're going to get the funny, the drama, like all of that. So I appreciate those dynamics. Like I said before, I really like the way that they show the age gap, not by explicitly saying it, but by the little things that each character does and the way they dress, and even by what they choose to eat or the drinks, like when they were getting dressed, when Ek was getting dressed, the iced coffee and the black coffee for Ue. So I really enjoy how they show the like age dynamic, and they kind of subliminally remind you that yes, there is a pretty big age gap. I do like that they did not set Ek in high school, because he's still grown. He's in college. I think he's in like his 3rd year of college. So he's a grown man, so he can make decisions for himself. And Ue is like, you know, out of all that, work a part of society and stuff like that. So they show that yes, there's an age gap, but both are well beyond like consenting adult age and maturity. I enjoyed the little bit of interaction between Wit and Pim that we got, because it showed that Pim has more of a personality, and it showed us a different side of him. I really enjoyed that, and I think that they are going to be I'm gonna like their couple when they actually like get together, if they get together. I'm going to enjoy their couple a lot, because they don't have polar opposite personalities, but their personalities are different enough to balance each other out. And I think Wit will bring out a side of Pim that even he didn't know he had. Of course, like Wit is very expressive in the things that he likes, the things that he wants to do. He's a go-getter. He's the type of person that not necessarily doesn't think about what he does before he does it, but he's the type of person that's like, either I'm going to do it now or I'm never going to do it. So why not do it now? So yeah, I like that about their character. B, and I can't remember the other character's name for my life, but the one with the blonde hair. If they don't get together, I'm going to question all of my knowledge about trends in BL and my observation skills, because they are subtly showing hints. It's not enough to just be like, oh, they're gonna be together, but it's also enough to say they're gonna be together, if that makes any sense to any of you. But yeah, so I just like how they interact with each other, and it may very well be that we already know that there's going to be 2 definite couples in the series. And so they're just kind of playing with their dynamic, because they don't want them to be, how should I say this? They don't want them to be standalone characters. They still want to show like that friendship dynamic, and not to separate B and the other character to the point where it's like, okay, they don't have any type of storyline. They still want to give them some kind of storyline and kind of make the viewer think like, oh my god, like what if we have a spin-off of these 2, or they're planting a seed for us to interpret things the way we want to interpret, which I really enjoy and I really love. Moving on to the bigger issue at hand, and the way that they handled asking, quote unquote, Ek to participate in the Top Chefs competition. I don't agree with how he approached it. While I don't necessarily think that the way he approached it was problematic. I do, however, think that there was a better way for him to cater his want for Ek to participate in the competition to how Ek responds to things and how his personality. Ek pretty much laid out like how he wanted him to present that to him, or how he would have wanted him to present it to him. Just ask, instead of assuming that I would say yes. So basically, you told me to close my eyes, and you set this image in my head, and I liked it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to do it now. I just like the idea of it. But you have to understand that Ek probably doesn't feel like he is there yet himself. You are a much more seasoned chef, professional chef. That's your lane. Right now, it's not my lane. And also, I think, again, it's a lot of unnecessary stress for Ek because he is in school. Granted, he's on break now, but he's in school. He plans to go back to his mom and work with his mom at her restaurant over the break. So I'm assuming what that would mean is if he were to take this competition, he would not be able to spend time with his mom like he wants to over the break. So that, I'm assuming that's all of the things that were swirling around in Ek's head when he heard him say, I intend on entering you in this competition. And that is why Ek responded the way he responded. If it were me, I would have asked first, because you can't really assume that people will want to do things. And again, the way it comes off is that you kind of used him in order to satisfy your pride that in your little situation that you have going on with Eve, because that is one, food and being a chef is what brought you and Ek together. Then you have a chef competition, which is what caused an issue between you and Eve, which I'm pretty sure Ek peeped a little bit. He probably doesn't know the extent of it, but he peeped it a little bit, which is why he responded the way he responded. So you have that, the chef and food that connect you and Ek, and then you have the competition that connects Eve and and then right here in the middle you have where you basically want to enter him into the competition because you feel his skill, and then on top of that you said you could probably do it even better than I can. So it's easy for a person to kind of misconstrue those two situations and the feelings that happened in this little middle part. I hope I'm making sense. But like the feelings that happened between Ek and and basically these two situations, and like just mix it. And so now there's a huge misunderstanding. While I don't think that, again, had any intention on using Ek for his own selfish reasons for the competition in the beginning, I feel like when Eve came around and when she presented herself and brought up all these pent up aggressions and stuff and feelings in he might have, maybe unconsciously, maybe he didn't, like, again, maybe he didn't mean anything by it, but he was like, I have to do something to win this competition, because obviously this girl has like a mental chokehold on this man, considering how he reacted, even from her being there, him tearing up. So there must have been something in the past that happened between the two of them that caused him to have this emotional break when he saw her. One, when he just saw her, and then when she said what she said, having this aggression, throwing food, throwing plates, breaking plates, things like that. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, a lot to unpack. So I'm excited to see how they go about revealing what happened in the past and how is going to deal with it, how Ek is going to deal with it. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this review cut. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that we can create a nice little conversation in the comment section below. Let me know if you like the review cuts as well by hitting that thumbs up button. Also hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you know each and every time I upload. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.